we have to introduce you to the incredible Yana. And we get to enter our next segment where we get to learn all about how Canva mastered community-led growth, which is very, very exciting. And so everyone here, we've been here like 12 hours straight. I'm like still going strong. I've just topped up to an Earl Grey tea. I've upgraded from my chamomile to an Earl Grey tea, which is awesome. Yeah, Yana's got that's vodka, water, of course. Fabulous. And of course, everyone here, please just roll your shoulders back, Yana. We're just gonna get the blood pumping. We're ready for some learning. And whilst I introduce this phenomenal session and this incredible woman who is here live, I want to tell you all about Canva. Because has anyone heard of Canva? Please post in the chat a yes if you have heard of this incredible company called Canva. And whilst you're going to post in the chat saying yes if you've heard of it or no if you haven't heard of Canva, I'm going to tell you some facts, because Canva was founded in Sydney by 3 co-founders, and it is absolutely incredible to see the growth of Canva, which they have a mission to empower the world to design. All my slides are built on Canva, by the way. And Canva has reached over 200 million monthly active users, and they just hit $3.3 billion in annual recurring revenue in August 2025. Oh my God. And it is just an incredible Aussie startup that has turned into a global movement to empower the world to design. And now I get to introduce you to Yana, who is going to share all about how Canva has mastered community-led growth. But if you haven't met Yana, she is an incredible human. Yana and I met in Sydney and around Australia co-running events together, which has been phenomenal. And she is the community vertical lead at Canva, where she currently works. And she's also a TEDx speaker, how cool, and is a coach and mentor of the Community Collective. She has done over 98 coaching sessions for members in our programs, which I counted yesterday. And she's previously also been an advisor at Miro. She's a best friend, a mum, and an incredible human. So Yana, over to you.
Such a nicest introduction. Thank you, Paz, and thank you everyone for joining today. I was listening to other speakers today and I was thinking like how lucky I am to be here and to share what I'm going to share. But first thing first, let me please ask you about one tiny little favor before we start. Normally, like I have a rule of thumb for all things presentations, learnings, conferences, and this rule says to me that if you want to remember something important or just implement it to your life, do this thing, just share it with someone else that you've just learned. How you can do this, you can go and share some insights from today with your friends or colleagues, or you can post it somewhere on your social media, whatever you prefer. Just do this. Feel free to screenshot all the slides I'm showing today. I try to be very practical and tactical so you can immediately implement some of the steps to your everyday work. And what I'm gonna talk about today is community-led growth at Canva, one of my favorite topics ever. So let's get started. Just a quick introduction from myself. As an addition to what Paz said to you before, and also like to understand more of a context, I've been working at Canva for 3 years now, and I think that I've been to so many in a community team, I've been to so many different positions. So I kind of experienced what it means to work with education, schools, and universities. Then I was transferred to nonprofits. This is how I met Mark. And then I became a community vertical lead. And now I'm working with our advocacy programs. So you all know what is Canva. You know, it's a design platform, and we have a beautiful mission to empower the world to design. But what it actually means is we work for professionals and non-professionals, which makes our target audience very diverse, very big, very large. So we should basically talk to all types of users, including nonprofits, education, professional designers, creators, social media creators, small business, medium-sized business, enterprises, you can imagine how hard it is to first of all be concise and very solid in terms of like what you're talking from the brand perspective, but at the same time always adjust your message to the right audience. And I think we could never do this without our community. Our community strategy is to turn passionate users into lifelong advocates. What does it mean? We have a commitment curve, which is shown on this slide. And the commitment curve suggests that all Canva users, everyone who uses Canva, including you, including myself, everyone here, is actually the part of Canva community. Why do we say so? Because our users are very interconnected. They talk a lot to each other. They collaborate a lot. They use Canva and they ask different questions to each other. They learn from each other while using Canva. So it's a lot of like decentralized knowledge sharing. This is why when we talk about Canva community, we talk about all the users we have, but also we have a different type of commitment, like a higher level of engagement, which is like being a part of our community groups. We have dedicated community groups or community spaces for all our different verticals. We call it verticals, but you keep in mind that it's like nonprofits or education or design or even developers are part of Canva communities, and we try to adjust to their what they used to. So this is why I say community groups, but I don't specify like whether it's Discord or Slack or Facebook or LinkedIn, because they're all different. We try to speak the same language as our audience does, and if they become the part of community group, this is where the conversation begins and where Canva can join this conversation with our community members, because all Canva users sometimes reach out to us, give us feedback, share their stories, but on the platform of our community group, this is where we can navigate them, lead them to success, make them connect. And this is my favorite thing I ever do in my like work life and in my job, is connecting the dots. When I see like, for example, like a nonprofit, recently we had a beautiful example of a nonprofit talking that they want to roll out a specific program teaching kids about responsibility in terms of helping homelesses, and they don't know how to implement this into schools. I just connected them with our Department of Education in NSW here in Australia. And this is how we like slightly connect the dots and make magic happens when all the efforts are combined and they can actually do the right thing. The next step of a commitment curve is Canvassators. Can you guess who Canvassators are? It's basically Canva ambassadors, like people who represent Canva locally, hyper locally. I'll talk about ambassadors a little bit more like further, but it's just one of our epic forces when we speak about community-led growth and about spreading the word of mouth about Canva. But we also have one more pillar. It's Canva verified experts. These are basically the experts in Canva that we can verify their knowledge, and they are able to and eligible to represent Canva locally on the conference, at the stages, at the important events. So think of them as part of our team, just external people, but at the same time working with Canva very closely. They are part of our Slack channels. They work with us under an NDA. We trust them and they trust us. And I'll talk about them very soon because they are this perfect, beautiful army of ambassadors, helpers, and businesses we collaborate a lot with. Let's move forward. And here is the scheme that and the model that you're probably very well aware of, and it looks very familiar to you because Spaces model is what we all learned from David Spinks. And yeah, I see passes like, yes, I love it. I do too. And my focus today is on letter C, contribution-based communities. This is the type of communities I work a lot with, and this is what I want to share a bit more about. Our advocacy programs are basically this contribution-based communities like Canvasadors and Canva verified expert that I introduced to you before. You can see some of the faces here, but there are so much more than this because I guess now we have a couple of thousands of them. And I know very many of them personally, to be honest, just because we collaborate very closely together. And I would say we even like it's not just a collaboration, it's a teamwork. And I'll tell you how it works in our company. But first thing first, let's probably split these two terms for a better understanding and for your context. We have thousands of members in our Canvasadors community or Canvasadors program. These are local leaders recognized for their knowledge in Canva. They have the same values as we do here at Canva, and they play an important role to inspire, educate, and connect communities locally, which means they're based all around the globe. They run different Canva related events. It could be a conference, a meetup, just a party, anything about Canva. They teach Canva a lot on their local languages, the languages we don't speak here, but they do. And they help in their region to set up the right culture of visual communications. Though they are on a mission, we help them a lot. But at the same time, they help us a lot to promote ideas of Canva, Canva as a product, and to help other people to design. And we have only 55 members around the globe. You can feel how special it is to become a Canva verified expert. The program is by invite only. It means that Canva verified experts are only recommended by our local community managers throughout the year. And it's very hard to become a Canva verified expert. But we have a joke here at Canva, like they know Canva definitely better than any one of us does. And I see that sometimes when they ask me like any specific questions about Canva, I feel really bad because I don't know the answer because they know Canva just in and out and from A to Z. And they normally have a very solid following because of this, because they post different Canva hacks, share the hidden gems that no one knows, but they know. And what is really important is like they definitely have a great reputation on their market. Some of them are designers or brand designers or marketers, and they're very well known in the industries. And when they start talking about things like how they use this or that feature of Canva, you definitely want to stop and listen to because their life hacks are so important. And I don't think we could probably create something similar at Canva, especially knowing that they represent different markets, different countries, different languages. So it's kind of only possible when you collaborate with your community. So a bit about our approach and how we basically implement this approach in real life, step by step. We move in the same direction, empowering each other, which means we give our advocates access to everything they need to grow their Canva-related business. Just imagine that, for example, you have a business, something about like education and design, or branding, or helping small businesses to build their brand routine, set up their social media accounts, and things like that. We empower them with everything we have, everything even internal, so they know how actually Canva works. They have all the materials, they know about the features we're going to launch, and they educate people, promote Canva across the globe, and help us improve the product. So they give so much feedback, not only from them, but also from their communities, which makes this influence very decentralized. Because like imagine Canva, like myself, for example, now talking from the stage like, oh, Canva is really good. And you're like, okay, Yana, but you work for Canva. Obviously, Canva is very good for you. But imagine like thousands of people talking about how they use Canva every day, telling their stories, very specific stories. And it just turns like one voice into a choir, which makes it very valuable and which probably very familiar to you as community managers, as a mechanic. But we will move further and I will explain how it actually works from the inside. We have 4 components of collaboration. Please feel free to screenshot this slide, this and a couple of like next slides, just because you probably would love to implement some of this in your own work. The first component is definitely empowerment. This is what I shared before. Like, we give them all tools, all answers, early access to the new features. Canva verified experts are part of our corporate Slack channels, so they can basically talk to our product managers, product marketing managers, those who think about the apps in Canva. So basically, they can learn about new things that on the development stage, and they can even give their input or feedback at this early stage. The second component is partnership. It means our biggest motivation on both ends is empower each other's growth. We benefit from their growth, they benefit from our growth, which makes us the best team ever. The third component is trust. We have a very clear terms. We ensure equal access to perks. We try to always do an extra mile if possible, just to show that like we trust them, we give them we empower them with all the tools, but also they are absolutely okay to sort of like tailor what we gave to them to the right environment. We totally trust their experience and expertise. So for example, when they took the tools, the marketing tools or the decks, they can totally translate it themselves, change it the way they believe it would be accepted better, and present on some of the big stages, because we give them the green light to do everything they think is right to promote Canva in their region and to build the right culture of visual comms. And the fourth component is magic. That's super important for any community, and here's no exception, because we try to celebrate wins, share knowledge, and support each other, which sounds pretty formal on the slide of the deck, but actually it's a lot of human to human relationships. Many of our Canvassers or Canva verified experts are actually friends, and like recently some of them went to Disneyland together just because of it was their initiative. Some of them travel together, they catch up when they're in each other's cities, because it's like more than just work or just business. We do so much together. We actually like really live through this experience together, and this shared experience makes us very, like people very close to each other. And if you look through my chats on Slack, you can barely tell who I work with from who are just my friend, because it's very similar, the similar vibe, the similar sense of belonging. And I'm really proud that it happens in such a type of a program, because from what I see like in the industry, the programs like this, when you collaborate with the businesses like agencies, or it's a pretty competitive environment, right? So you probably expect them to compete, but it's not the case, and I'll explain you why. How it works: we believe in community-powered solutions, which means we have so many challenges at a global company. Local languages, new markets, specific needs of various industries we probably are not aware of. Education, how to educate Canva, which has so many tools. Some people don't even know that we have like whiteboards or AI or Canva code, whatever. They just don't know. They think like Canva is just a presentation. So education is a big part. Also like product improvement, new launches, new features. And we believe that only our community can help us to do this naturally, organically, and around the globe. And you can see how it works. Basically, like if we focus on UGC, you see that we empower them with the new tools, updates, timely delivered, all the information they have access to, and they can teach their audiences and communities how to use them best. So these are some of the pieces of content they created and shared on social media. Some of them have a very solid audience in social media. Many people, when you Google something about Canva, like for example, let's see, like VO3, Google VO3 in Canva. You just Google this and you immediately see their pieces of content. It's not our pieces of content, not Canva. It's Canva users. Or you Google Canva fonts for designers or Canva code. You immediately see the tutorials, which are not created by Canva. They are only created by our power users. Same about events and trainings. We have hundreds of trainings, events, and presentations led by experts and ambassadors around the globe every year. We even have a dedicated Canva community fund to support the initiatives. It's like just a dedicated budget that we use to support it. It doesn't mean that like we pay all the events and all the budgets and totally cover them, but we can add here and there this or that amounts like grants for beautiful initiatives to be supported and to scale. So as I can say, like the community fund was one of the really great implements in our work recently. It exists for, I guess, for 2 years now or a year and a half. And I see the proofs how it actually helps us boost and scale the initiatives around the globe, especially like in the location where we don't have Canva campuses. We now have 11 Canva campuses around the globe, but it was really important for us to dedicate some budget to the local initiatives where we basically are not represented, but we know that there are so many beautiful teachers, nonprofits, designers, small businesses who will really benefit from learning about visual comms, from learning from our ambassadors and experts. And this is how it actually works. But you may ask, that's a lot of content and events. That's so much effort. How do you reward your ambassadors and Canva verified experts? And that's probably my biggest learning from this program. Because as I told you before, you sometimes you think like, oh, we can reward them with like money or I don't know, swag or something that we give them. But it's, there is a difference between giving a hungry man a fish or a fishing rod, right? So if you give someone a fish, they just eat the fish, but they're probably want the next time they want the fish as well. But if you give a fishing rod, it means they can catch as much fish as they need. And here's the same. When you enable them to scale their business and grow their audiences, it's basically no ceiling for them. How much they can earn, what they can do, how loud can their voices be. And for us, it's really important to give them this freedom, all the tools, all the possible opportunities to make them shine their brightest. Because when you see your community shining its brightest, not only you benefit from it as a company, the entire industry benefits from it. And this is what actually makes the culture work. The culture of visual comms, the understanding like how every one of us can be empowered by to design the things on a very next level. Because think about the design before Canva, like it was really hard to me, for example, as a student, to design a beautiful, concise presentation. I just didn't know where to start. It was like it really was like a pretty specific type of knowledge and skills, and I needed to learn it. So this is why it's really important for us to spread the word around about Canva around the world, and make sure that the businesses that help us to do so are always enabled, empowered, seen, heard, and supported. And you can see that our community actually gives back and talks about it. Canva helped me daily to save time, save money, and make money. Or Canva helped me stop second guessing and start posting with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Many of these people before Canva were not entrepreneurs, not founders. They worked somewhere, but they started their own business. They believed in Canva. They decided they can teach Canva on a regular basis, and it actually happened. You can see some of them just posted the names and logos of their clients, and you can see among their clients the companies like Meta or the Department of Education of NSW or Skillshare, things like that. Some of them launched the courses on Udemy, and you understand how much empowered they are now and how tight is connected is their work connected to Canva and how tight we are connected to them. This is the slide you can probably also screenshot or use some of these points in your work, because I wanted to specify what we actually do. It's always nice to hear like, oh, we did that and worked really well, but you want to know what exactly you did. Like we build the list of what we do and what we give to our advocates and what they are able to create after we gave them these tools. We gave them early access to new tools and a dedicated Slack channel to connect with the team, with those who they want to ask or they want to probably request something. We run education sessions and special events so they can stay up to date. They can constantly learn the new things that happens. We introduce them to Canva clients for training purposes. For example, if a big company like Greenpeace comes to us and say like, oh, Yana, I want to run a training for, I don't know, 1,000 of employees, and we are happy to pay for this. We just don't know who's going to be the trainer. I think in like classic companies, you find the trainer and you're like, oh, here's a dedicated trainer in our company. But what we do, we just like assign someone from our community and say like, they actually know Canva best. We want you to learn from them. We also give them affiliate links and other perks. But what they can and are able to create after this, having all these tools, they are absolutely empowered to run the features promotion, create tutorials, host workshops, even the very big workshops and local conferences, give us very valuable product feedback just because they know product really well from different perspectives, and promote in local markets and local languages everything that we are probably not able to focus on promoting just because the company is big and we have so many different things to do. But they do it and they implement it very naturally to the local environment. So Canva feels very local to each country we come. And community events around the globe for sure. Like lately we ran, let me think, 35 events, kind of a community lab events around the globe, and most of them were driven by our community members. That's pretty much it, but we have a little, just a little bit on top. We tried to organize the campus meetup. I told you about that we have like around 11 campuses and hubs around the globe. So if we can invite our community members to our beautiful offices, we always do this. If we can have the specific education, for example, when we acquired Leonardo AI or Affinity, we immediately started a specific education about these products because we want our community members be on top of everything that happens and know it the best, like on the market. So no one can compete with them. They know it always best. And also the program feedback in action is a very important part, because when you present something, trying to, concise and condense it into 25 minutes, it always sounds like, everything's so good, we just nailed it, and so like it's a beautiful concept. But actually there are so many things happening and you never know, like it's not always like 5-star experience. Sometimes things just fall in the cracks and you need to improve them. This is why we have this feedback loop in action that helps us to collect the feedback immediately from our community members and to implement it to build a very beautiful experience for all of them, making sure that they have everything they need to do their job and to run their businesses. That's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
We are so happy, Yana, that you have just delivered the most potent advice and just shared all of the case studies and examples. I have like pages of notes here. I feel like I'm at school. I'm like, yes, I love all these tips. So thank you, Yana, so much for sharing. We've got a couple minutes to do Q&A because this has literally been a power half-hour session from the queen of Canva herself. And so what we would love to do is, if you have a question for Yana, please post it in the Q&A box. And Yana, we already have a question here, which is from Vicky, which is, how would you kickstart an ambassador program and re-engage ambassadors that might have actually disengaged? So there's kind of two questions there. How would you start a new ambassador program? And if you already have one, how do you re-engage ones that have actually become disengaged?
Oh, both questions are really cool. The first question, the first answer going to be really quick because it started before me joining Canva. This is why it was just like sort of a legacy that I joined and started working with. But basically, I know that it was like a historical moment when we sort of like spotlighted some of the very cool creators on social media talking about Canva. And it was basically like a cherry picked experts from here and there that we connected to and said like, oh, we really love what you do. Do you want to stay connected with us? Want to invite you to the next Canva event? Probably just, build this deeper, meaningful connections. And then when we had enough of them, let's say like 10-ish, I don't know how many, we decided that it's going to be like a dedicated advocacy program. And the second question was about the re-engaging people who are basically like stop being engaged. It always, to me, it's always about the reason why they stopped being engaged. Because in some cases, you don't want to re-engage them. For example, they stop their businesses or they're thinking about putting their business on hold because of their family things. Some of them, giving birth to kids, getting married, travel somewhere. You're just like, I totally understand. You can put it on hold. It's not like, it's just like you said, right? Like you put yourself first and like your business is second. This is why like you do not re-engage them, understanding their circumstances. But in some cases, they stop being so engaged because they just, they don't know where to start, or they probably lost the momentum and they don't understand how to get back on track. And it's normally very easy to solve when you just notice this. You come to them and say like, oh, I understand you feel frustrated about something. You probably didn't have enough time to create this new piece of content and you lost the momentum and you feel like you're not aligned with what we're doing. Let's jump on a quick call and think about how we can help you. And these quick like coaching sessions really help, because if both of us want to continue the business and want to continue the relations, when you talk about 55 people, it's easier, right, to be very personal. If we talk about 1,000 people in Canvassers community, that's different. So it's more about, newsletters, email
Yeah.
marketing, funnels, and things like that. So you should do this stuff, but 55 people is totally manageable.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, 1,000 ambassadors, like even that in
No,
itself
more,
is
more
just
than
huge, right? Oh,
that.
I'm like, how many? Remind us the
Uh,
number.
I can say that the exact
Oh,
number, but it's like
okay.
thousands of them, which makes
Okay.
it, yeah, that's a lot.
Lots, everyone.
Lots.
We're getting
Yeah.
secrets that we can't tell anyone else out of this publicly live broadcasted session. I love that. Oh, Yana, thank you so much for sharing. It's been so cool hearing about all the elements of Canva, especially like Canvassadors. And definitely like for anyone here live who's thinking about building a new ambassador program, similar to some of the tips that Yana has just shared at Canva, we have a briefing template that you're welcome to use. There's a link in the chat. It's a free template. What this can do is like you can get the Google Doc, pitch an ambassador program, send it to your boss or your company, and like get them on board to actually starting an ambassador program. So if you work in a large team, that's a process that I went through when I had to pitch RMIT to build an ambassador program, put together a one pager, sent it to the boss, and we're just going to give you that template to make it really practical for everyone here. But Yana, I just have so many good memories, even from when we hosted the Community Collective birthday party at the Canva head office in Sydney last year. I still remember having
So good.
lunch. There's like all the buffet, like private chefs at Canva and like dogs everywhere. If for anyone who hasn't been to the Sydney office, it's like amazing. And Yana gets to work there like
Give
all
me
the
a
time.
message and I'm happy to
Yeah.
give you a quick tour because we're very, very open.
Okay, everyone, buy your flights to Sydney, Australia. It's really close to wherever you are tuning in, and we'll all go have lunch at Canva head office. Well, Yana, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You can head off and enjoy the rest of your day. We are still 12.5 hours into Loop. So, Yana, do you have any final words? She's already gone. The words
Sorry,
are
no,
done.
yeah,
Ah!
yeah, just
Final words before you wrap up.
yeah, I'm happy that we are as community builders are so interconnected and help each other to, share what we know. And what Paz and Beth and others run here. It's basically the beautiful opportunity to learn from each other. So don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn or whenever you find me and say like, hey, Yana, I want to understand how this works. And it's totally fine. I'm always open to help. And I hope
Love
that
that.
we are like this in this industry. So thanks, Paz, for making it possible.
Yay! And thank you, Beth and Francisco, as well, for being my co organizers for this incredible event. So thank you, Yana.